The Los Angeles Lakers suffered their first clutch-time defeat of the season on Friday night, falling to the Milwaukee Bucks in a heartbreaking finish at Crypto.com Arena. The final score of 105-101 reflected a defensive breakdown in the closing seconds, with the Lakers losing possession when it mattered most. LeBron James, despite delivering an impressive overall performance, became the focal point of the loss after a critical turnover with just over 16 seconds remaining on the clock. With the Lakers trailing by 2 points and the game hanging in the balance, James took control of the basketball on the perimeter. The team had 2 timeouts available but elected not to use them, choosing instead to let their veteran superstar create a play in the flow of the game. James attacked the basket with determination, driving toward the rim in an attempt to either tie the game or draw a foul. However, Milwaukee's star player Giannis Antetokounmpo made a spectacular defensive play, reaching around from behind and poking the ball away from James. Kevin Porter Jr. secured the loose ball for the Bucks, effectively sealing the victory for Milwaukee and handing the Lakers their first loss in a clutch situation this season. Following the disappointing outcome, the 41-year-old Lakers legend took full responsibility for the mistake during his post-game media session. James acknowledged the magnitude of the error, stating that turning the ball over at such a critical juncture was completely unacceptable. He praised Antetokounmpo for making an excellent defensive play, specifically noting how the Greek star managed to tip the ball away from behind. Despite the acknowledgement of the great defense, James made it clear that he held himself accountable for the turnover that cost his team a legitimate chance to win or extend the game into overtime. The loss came after a sluggish start from the Lakers, who struggled to find their rhythm in the opening half of play. James explained that the team appeared to still be recovering from their recent road trip, lacking the energy and focus needed to compete at their usual level. However, he noted significant improvement in the second half, where the Lakers played more characteristic basketball that reflected their identity this season. The team's defensive intensity picked up considerably, and their offensive execution became sharper, allowing them to claw back into the contest and give themselves a chance to win. Despite the improved play after halftime, Milwaukee made crucial shots down the stretch that proved decisive in determining the outcome. Miles Turner connected on a significant three-pointer near the Lakers bench, swinging momentum decisively in favor of the visiting team. Porter Jr. also knocked down important free throws in the final moments, building the cushion that the Bucks needed to withstand any potential Lakers comeback attempt. James acknowledged that both teams had their opportunities throughout the contest, but ultimately Milwaukee made the plays necessary to secure the victory. Before addressing the final turnover, James reflected on the team's perfect record in clutch situations coming into the contest. He mentioned that while going undefeated in close games throughout an entire season would be ideal, it simply isn't realistic to expect. The veteran emphasized the importance of maintaining perspective, cautioning against getting too high during winning streaks or too low after disappointing losses. For James, statistics like clutch game records serve as interesting data points, but they don't define how his team approaches each individual contest. The focus remains on playing solid basketball regardless of the score or game situation. James finished the game with 26 points, 9 rebounds, and 10 assists, leading the team in all 3 major statistical categories. His performance was particularly strong in the fourth quarter, where he scored 13 crucial points while trying to rally his team to victory down the stretch. The stat line demonstrated that even at 41 years old, James remains capable of carrying significant offensive responsibility for extended stretches of play. His ability to fill the box score across multiple categories continues to be a vital component of the Lakers' success throughout this season. When asked about his preparation and physical condition heading into the game, James provided insight into his daily routine. He mentioned getting substantial rest the night before, which allowed him to feel fresh and energetic for the contest. The morning of the game included a quality workout session before arriving at the arena for the team's shoot-around. James explained that his approach centers on preparing his body and mind for whatever challenges each day presents to him. The extensive rest he received, combined with proper training and preparation, enabled him to perform at a high level against a quality opponent like the Bucks. The Los Angeles Lakers have dealt with a significant number of injury issues throughout the current season, forcing head coach JJ Redick to make constant adjustments to his rotation and starting lineup. Among the players sidelined has been forward Rui Hachimura, who has been battling a left calf strain that has kept him out of action for several consecutive games. The Japanese forward's absence has created a noticeable void in the Lakers' front court rotation, though the team has found creative ways to compensate for his missing production on both ends of the floor. Before the Lakers faced the Milwaukee Bucks on Friday night, there was some genuine optimism that Hachimura might be able to return to action for the contest. He was initially listed as questionable on the official injury report, giving fans hope that the versatile forward would rejoin the lineup. However, as game time approached, the team made the cautious decision to downgrade his status to out, meaning Hachimura would miss another contest. The Lakers ultimately fell to the Bucks by a final score of 105-101 in a closely contested battle that came down to the final possession. With Hachimura unavailable for the Milwaukee game, Redick turned to young forward Jake LaRavia to fill the starting power forward position. LaRavia has responded admirably to the increased opportunity, showing flashes of potential that suggest he could warrant serious consideration for the starting role even after Hachimura returns to full health. The undrafted player has brought tremendous energy and effort on both ends of the floor, though the Lakers remain eager to get their veteran forward back on the court as soon as he is medically cleared to play. Following the loss to Milwaukee, Redick provided reporters with an encouraging update on Hachimura's recovery process and current status. The head coach revealed that the forward has made substantial progress in recent days, particularly in terms of regaining strength and mobility in the affected calf muscle. Hachimura participated in a quality workout session before the Bucks game, demonstrating his improving condition and readiness to return. Most importantly, Redick expressed genuine optimism that Hachimura could be available for the team's Monday night matchup against the Sacramento Kings, which would be a significant boost to the roster. The coach was careful to temper expectations, noting that the team would continue monitoring Hachimura's status over the next few days before making a final determination about his availability. Calf injuries have become one of the most concerning ailments in professional basketball over recent seasons, largely because they can lead to more serious Achilles tendon problems if players return to action prematurely. The Lakers are well aware of these risks and will exercise appropriate caution with their forward, ensuring he is fully ready before clearing him for competitive game action. Hachimura is not the only Lakers player currently managing a calf injury on the roster. Guard Austin Reeves is also dealing with his own calf issue, further highlighting the prevalence of this particular injury type within the organization this season. The team's medical staff has been working diligently with both players to ensure proper recovery protocols are followed meticulously. The cautious approach stems from an understanding that rushing players back from calf strains can result in more significant setbacks down the line that could cost them even more time. Since Redick adjusted the starting lineup to include Marcus Smart and LaRavia, the Lakers have experienced a noticeable improvement in their defensive performance. The new combination has brought better perimeter defense and more versatility in switching schemes, allowing the team to guard multiple positions more effectively. This defensive uptick has created an interesting dilemma for the coaching staff regarding how to integrate Hachimura back into the rotation once he's healthy and ready to play. Despite the defensive considerations, Hachimura brings valuable offensive skills that the Lakers have genuinely missed during his absence from the lineup. His most important attribute is his ability to knock down open three-point shots with consistency, providing crucial floor spacing that allows LeBron James and other playmakers to operate with more room to create. The threat of Hachimura's outside shooting forces opposing defenses to respect him on the perimeter, creating driving lanes and better looks for his teammates throughout possessions. Regardless of how the starting lineup ultimately shakes out when everyone is healthy, the Lakers simply need more healthy bodies available on a game-to-game basis to maintain consistency. The team's depth has been tested repeatedly this season due to various injuries, making it difficult to establish consistent rotations and chemistry between players. Getting Hachimura back would provide Redick with additional flexibility in his substitution patterns and give the team another reliable scoring option who can contribute in multiple ways on the court. The NBA trade deadline is rapidly approaching, with less than 1 month remaining before teams must finalize their rosters for the crucial stretch run of the season. The Los Angeles Lakers find themselves in a familiar position, actively searching for upgrades to their current roster in hopes of improving their championship odds. One player who has generated significant interest from the Lakers organization is New Orleans Pelicans forward Herb Jones, a defensive specialist who would address several of the team's most pressing weaknesses on that end of the floor. Over the past several weeks, the Lakers have struggled mightily to maintain the defensive consistency that characterized their play during the previous season under their former coaching staff. The team has looked disjointed on that end of the floor, failing to communicate effectively and execute their defensive schemes with the precision necessary to slow down opposing offenses. Adding a player like Jones, who has built his reputation as an elite perimeter defender capable of guarding multiple positions, seemed like a logical solution to some of these persistent problems. However, recent developments suggest that acquiring the Pelicans forward will be far more difficult than many observers had anticipated. According to NBA insider Chris Haynes, the New Orleans Pelicans have begun informing interested teams around the league that several of their top players will not be made available before the February 5th trade deadline. The list of untouchable players includes star forward Zion Williamson, sharpshooter Trey Murphy, defensive ace Herb Jones, promising rookie Derek Queen, and young guard Jeremiah Fears. This announcement effectively closes the door on any potential trade scenarios involving these key members of the Pelicans roster, disappointing teams around the league who had been actively monitoring the situation and exploring potential deal structures. For the Lakers specifically, this news represents a significant setback in their pursuit of meaningful roster improvements before the deadline passes. Jones would have been an ideal fit alongside the team's current core of players, providing lockdown defense on the perimeter while requiring minimal offensive touches to be effective. His ability to guard multiple positions and disrupt opposing offenses would have complemented the skill sets of players like Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves perfectly, creating a more balanced and versatile roster. The 27-year-old forward has established himself as one of the premier wing defenders in the entire league, making him exactly the type of player that contending teams actively covet at the trade deadline. While Jones has shown improvement as an outside shooter this season, connecting on 33.3% of his three-point attempts, there remain some legitimate concerns about his offensive consistency and ability to create his own shot. However, his defensive prowess more than compensates for any limitations on the offensive end of the court. The Lakers were willing to overlook his relatively modest scoring numbers because of the tremendous impact he could make without the basketball in his hands on the defensive end. Lakers general manager Rob Pelinka now faces the challenging task of pivoting to alternative options with time running out before the trade deadline arrives. The good news is that there are still several weeks remaining to explore different trade scenarios and identify potential targets who might become available as other teams clarify their plans. However, Pelinka has demonstrated a consistent reluctance in previous years to sacrifice significant draft capital or young talent in exchange for role players, preferring instead to maintain flexibility for future opportunities that might present themselves. This conservative approach has sometimes frustrated fans who want to see more aggressive moves to improve the team's championship chances. The question facing Pelinka is whether Jones qualifies as the type of upper echelon role player worth making a substantial financial commitment and surrendering valuable assets. If the Pelicans had been willing to engage in serious trade discussions, they almost certainly would have demanded multiple first-round draft picks in return for their defensive standout, given the market value for elite wing defenders. The Lakers currently have access to only one tradable first-round selection before the deadline, which would be their pick in 2031. The value of that asset has diminished somewhat following the acquisition of Doncic, as the team's improved outlook suggests the pick will land later in the first round than it might have otherwise. The Pelicans' decision to retain their core players despite an exceptionally disappointing season suggests they believe strongly in the long-term potential of their roster moving forward. Rather than initiating a full-scale rebuild or conducting a fire sale of veteran assets, New Orleans appears firmly committed to maintaining continuity and working through their current struggles with the existing group. For the Lakers, this development means they must expand their search to identify other defensive-minded wings who might become available through trade channels as the deadline approaches and teams clarify their positions.